and just share my thoughts on competing for a living. I'm saying all that because I have a lot of conversations with individuals that um, feel as though that they would love to compete for a living, like it would be a dream. It would be a dream if they can compete for a living. And I'm here to tell you that it's not all um, peaches and cream. Like it's not all excitement. It's not all happiness. It's not all celebrations. It's a lot of stuff that it's not. Um, a lot of individuals don't really realize that because they actually probably never, well, obviously, most have never just competed for a living. And then it all depends on what you into, why you into the sport, obviously, where you're located at. Um, but I can tell you, competing for a living is not easy at all. It's not easy at all. I think sometimes it's more disappointment uh, than it is celebration. Well, maybe not more disappointment than it is celebration, but it's a balance of disappointment enough to where when you do um, get your desired results, that you really, really celebrate them because you know it's not easy. Competing for a living, you always got birds and keeps. It's a lot of work. It's literally a lot of work. I personally know a lot of guys that compete for a living, and not only with their foul, but being feeders for other people foul. And I think that even makes it even tougher because the burden of responsibility of what to show and what not to show is not always in your total control. Sometimes you're showing birds that you may not really like, but if your client brings them to you, then you end up, showing them. Um, I think if that's something that you want to do, obviously it depends on where you're located at in the world. I think one of the things, probably the first thing you should do, is try to spend a lot of time with individuals that do feed for a living and try to pick their brain, but not only pick their brain, but just study their lifestyle. And I believe when you study their lifestyle and pick their brain, then I think that'll give you a better understanding if it's something that you do want to do for a living. Um, there's a difference in doing it for a living and then doing it as much as you possibly can. I think the latter part one may be a lot more enjoyable um, because, like I said before, competing for a living is not easy. A lot of individuals out here have great birds. Not only do they have great birds, but you have a lot of great feeders. You have a lot of great breeders. So that makes it where it's pretty tough. And I ain't gonna say if you're one of the ones that's lucky enough to do it for a living, because that might not be what you want to do. Um, but I am saying that if it is something that you think you want to do, then really try to do your due diligence. Like I say, try to get with a feeder. Even if you don't live close to him, maybe go out there and spend a week with him, pick his brain. And again, one of the things you do not overlook is look at their lifestyle because feeding for a living, it's and then it depends on what country you're in. If you're in a country like the Caribbeans or the Philippines and stuff like that, where they show all year long, versus other countries where they may only show during the season and during the hotter months that they don't show. But again, it's just something to think about. So, my advice, if it's something that you think you want to do, find a feeder or conditioner. Um, pick his brain as much as you can. See if you can go out there and spend time with him because, like I say, the key is not only evaluating all the knowledge that they have about conditioning birds, but also evaluate what type of lifestyle that a feeder lives. Constantly having birds and keeps and dealing with clients is almost like a business. When you feed for a living, is really a business. It's no more of a sport. It's like a business. because if you do not put your client's birds in the best shape possible, then you won't get a repeat customer. You have to kind of figure out, ways of dealing with pretty much like customer service. How do you tell a client that brought you a bird that this bird really is not ready, or not even not ready, but I don't think this is a quality of bird that we should show? Because the feeder, almost his majority of his income is coming from his ability to be able to win. So if he's being given fowl that really don't have the ability to win at the level that they're competing, then as a feeder, he has to understand, or he has to learn, how do you communicate that with a client without losing a client. So it turns into, like I say, more to like a business than it does a sport. So you cross that threshold, and then it's not all about fun. Then it's not all about, oh well, we didn't get it today, we'll do it next time. Well, that's a little difference when you got to pay your bills based on that. It's a little different. You really don't have the ability just to take that nonchalant attitude. Um, so it's just something, like I say, I wanted to share because I have a lot of guys, especially young guys, think that would be their dream. And I'm sure maybe for some it would be their dream to feed for a living. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's not what you think. It's not as easy as you think. And it becomes more of a business than a sport. So just keep that in mind. Just kind of wanted to share that with y'all guys. If y'all got any other topics y'all would like for me to talk about, I'll make some videos for the members, and we'll talk about them. Take care.